It is the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're here every single day from 5 to 6 talking about the local issues that matter to you most and taking your phone calls at 800-222-5222, 1-800-222-5222, your emails at randywangradio@gmail.com, and search for the KABC News Blitz wherever you get your podcasts. RVs are a big problem when it comes to dealing with the homeless. Getting rid of a tent is one thing, but getting rid of a recreational vehicle that either a homeless person owns or is renting is infinitely more difficult for a whole lot of different reasons. And you probably have seen an RV encampment or two in your lifetime. And what the LA City Council will tell you is, well, one of the reasons that we can't just get rid of them is because of the lien process. Apparently, if they're worth more than $500, and some of these junkers actually are, they have to go through the lien process and then auction them. But because there's no room at the police lots, they auction them for pennies on the dollar, like $50. And then a landlord buys them, rents them out. They go right back into the ecosystem. So the only way the city says that they can do something about it is if they buy it. If they buy back, then they can destroy it. And you got to destroy these things. They are not meant for the road. They are not safe. They got to go. But if you can't do that, and they don't want to sell them because they don't want to give them up just yet because it's the only thing they have, one member of the LA City Council, the member that represents my district in the San Fernando Valley, Imelda Padilla.
The neighborhood kids, the down-ass kids don't like it.
Imelda Padilla.
Broken windy theory.
Imelda Padilla.
Street pavements that are cooler.
Had an interesting idea. Hey, we have a parking lot that Metro owns that we could totally put a whole bunch of RVs in. Sounds great, right? Here's the problem. This parking lot is at the Metro Orange Line station on Victory and Balboa. Catty corner from a high school. And next to a Metro line that everyone says they want you to use. So there is a little opposition to this idea. How did we get here? How did this become the idea? And why is the city just going along with it? Well, to that we go to the most ignored part of the city of Los Angeles, our neighborhood councils. Our next guest is the president of the Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council, executive committee and chair of the Valley Alliance of Neighborhood Councils, Linda Gravani. Welcome to the News Blitz.
Well, hi, Randy. I feel like I know you. I've listened to you for so many years. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, I'm so glad to have you on, and I'm unfortunately it's to meet over this nonsense. So what happened here where we are turning a lot that's supposed to be used for Metro, that's right next to a school, into an RV dumping ground?
Well, apparently this is the most ideal location that the city could find for these salvage RVs. First of all, it's not allowed in public facilities. If it were allowed, it could not be within 500 feet of a school. And you've just mentioned it's right across the street from Birmingham High School. The most impressive thing about this is it's going to be available for 2 years with a 10-foot fence around it. And it's only going to cost the city $350,000 a year, money from the homeless emergency account. And we're going to have a rally tomorrow, rain or shine, 7 a.m. to 9 and 3 p.m. to 5. And we just want people to be aware that this is happening. And we totally understand that we don't want these RVs on the street, but we certainly don't want them at the entrance of the Sepulveda Basin. And there's a couple of reasons why we're totally against it. As we mentioned, there are other places. There's actually in North Hollywood, there's 61 acres of space where RVs are allowed to be. The salvage automobiles and RVs can be there. But nobody is wanting to hear us that this is a good location for it rather than at the base of the Sepulveda Basin. The other interesting thing is that there's been, about 300 people living in the basin, starting about 700 fires in the last years or so. These 125 RVs are fiberglass, and right at the moment it's a little wet, but when they dry out, they can go up like a flash, and we'll be seeing the valley like Pacific Palisades, in my opinion.
Well, and to that point, because I drive by that corner every single day, I have seen the hillside right across the busway from this parking lot be caught on fire several times. That part of the basin isn't as prone to fire as the southern part of the basin, but it does happen all the time. And you're right, we're just adding more tinder to a very dangerous situation.
Exactly. Couldn't say it better myself. So those are the reasons why we're against this. We're not, it's hard. It's hard for someone to say, "Oh no, I don't want it here." But there's another location where it can go. This is not the right place for it, and nobody is listening to it.
It's so interesting that. Right. The way that the city operates, and this was true when we go all the way back to Measure HHH, and former Mayor Garcetti said, well, we need to make sure that we build shelters in every single district so we all have skin in the game. It's almost like our members of the city council, even though they all represent the same city, they treat each district like it's its own independent city. And even though, to your point, that the district next door in North Hollywood has plenty of space that is zoned specifically for this and would not be bothering anybody because it's not in Imelda's district and it's Imelda's RVs, we now have to place them in one of the worst possible areas next to a school.
Well, Councilmember Padilla said that there's going to be some of those salvage RVs going to be from Lake Balboa, but not all. The city is in dire straits. They need a place for all these RVs to go. But apparently they have to have public land. They can't use private land that's zoned for it and is in the business of it.
And the best idea they could come with when it comes to public land is a parking lot that's supposed to be for Metro, specifically a Metro station that serves a high school?
Correct. Metro says it's underutilized, that parking lot. And by the way, in the future, they're going to miraculously don't need that facility when the Olympics are on. But right after that, Metro is now going to be in the housing business and will be building 248 units at that parking lot. It's to boost ridership, just FYI.
Well, I remember this specifically, and that's why I was so confused when Imelda Padilla brought up that this was the lot they want to use for the RVs, because as far as I knew, thanks to emails that I've gotten from you and a whole bunch of other people, Metro has decided to develop this parking lot, so there will be no way to drive to the Orange Line. You'll have to walk there, but they're also going to be adding 248 units of housing on what is one of the busiest and worst intersections in the entire valley.
Yes. And someday there'll be service from the 405 down to UCLA, whether it's tunnel or monorail. We're not going to have a place for those thousands of people who will take the monorail or the subway because they won't have any place to park. I myself will continue to drive down the 405. Doesn't make sense.
So will I. Well, and this is what I'm curious about, Linda, because I'm curious, what agency you specifically have. I think a lot of people in LA don't even know that neighborhood councils exist, or they were a compromise in the Valley Secession movement. But what does the city council person, Imelda Padilla, does she listen when the neighborhood council where this lot is going to be says this is a bad idea?
Well, I'm going to do air quotes. Yes, they listen. But what they listen to is it's going to come here. Regardless of what you say, this is a decision. And we are going to make it safe. It's going to be safer. We're doing this, that, and the other things so that we're listening to you. We hear you. We're going to do what they're not hearing is, no, we don't want it here.
Yeah, I've always been under the impression that, whether it's public comment or speaking to neighborhood councils, these members have the deals in their head. They already know what they're going to do. They're going to say that they're going to have town halls and hearings about this, but nothing that anybody says is going to change their mind. This is what they're going to do.
Exactly right. And just so your audience knows, on the west side of Victory Boulevard, they're planning 194 more units right across the street from Birmingham. And that's really questionable because this is also public facilities. There was a private sale with no open meeting. They did ask for zone change, which was rejected. And the thing that really took us over the top was that our council member brought forward a motion for $45 million to acquire the property and to build and fix and do whatever they needed to do. And it was raced through city council in 7 days, and it was passed unanimously. So there's no way that we can combat anything. And as your intro was, yeah, city council gives us a minute, and that's it.
Yeah, if you have concerns that you have to make, you have to get in line at public comment with everybody else, even though you're supposed to be on the local neighborhood council.
Correct. Absolutely correct. And it's interesting. We on the neighborhood council, we're there because we say somebody got to do something about, and nobody does anything. And then all of a sudden we realize it's us. We need to do something about it. So that's why we're going to stand in the rain on Wednesday like we did on Sunday and just let people know what's happening in our community. And there's lots of things happening. And again, City Council, in my opinion, is not listening. They're not hearing us. They're just placating us.
Yeah, specifically in this district, one of the big issues is what you're talking about, whether it's the RV salvage lot in the metro parking lot or the eventual 3-story housing that Imelda said, hey, I got it knocked down from 4 and it's going to have EV chargers. There's also this whole nonsense about trying to add a bike path to the dog parks, which nobody seems to actually want.
Correct. They're taking away there's a way for the bikes to go today. We don't need to spend millions of dollars to extend it. But what they want to do is take away part of the dog park. There's only 9 dog parks in the entire city of Los Angeles, and they need to take a little bit of that space for the bikes. I understand there are people on the other side that say we need the bike path, but there is a way to ride your bike past here without having to spend more millions of dollars. Some folks are just lacking common sense.
Well, that is something that we are severely in need of at LA City Hall. So the rally is going to be tomorrow, November 19th. If you're in the Valley and you don't like this idea of right on the corner of Victory and Balboa, a salvage yard for RVs right next to a high school and one of the most busy intersections in the whole Valley, you can join them 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Get your signs ready. Make your voice heard. One of the only things that we can do with this city council and this mayor is embarrass them. And when they get embarrassed, sometimes they make the right decision.
Bingo. Thank you, Randy.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Before we go, what can you tell us about the neighborhood council, not just specifically yours, but how the neighborhood councils work and what they can actually do for the community?
Well, we're really grassroots. We know what's going on. And you mentioned that the neighborhood councils came about because of the secession that the Valley wanted to leave the city, as well as North Hollywood, I believe. We were not successful. So they gave us neighborhood councils. And in the very beginning, they were afraid of us because we were very powerful. in the past 25 years, many people have changed. The folks that started the neighborhood councils have moved on, and newer, younger people are coming in, and they don't understand. The city says sit down and be quiet. They sit down and be quiet. No, we're supposed to shake it up. We're supposed to tell the city, these are the things that we need in our community. And we find out that no, they're no longer listening. When I went to City Hall to talk about this specific item, I was allowed to speak because of the neighborhood council, and then I wanted to speak on my own, and I was told to sit down. My time was up. I said, but I signed up twice, and they said, no, sit down, your time is up. Council president said, sit down, time is up, and then I saw the officers coming on towards my way, so I sat down.
Yeah, and this is how we treat what's supposed to be our grassroots local elected representatives. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, we're supposed to get the community involved in the governance of our city.
Yeah, and we wonder why so many people are disillusioned with the government of Los Angeles being able to do anything.
Correct. And someday we should talk about the Van Nuys service to Van Nuys Airport service to Maui.
Oh, I don't even know anything about that. Enlighten me. We got a few minutes here.
Okay, so this is a general aviation airport. That means it's not service. There's not regular standard service. Well, there is an okay right at the moment to go from Van Nuys Airport to Maui and back again. And it goes to resort. I can't recall which resort it is. And they're calling it like a charter. But they're not supposed to be selling seats. A charter
it sounds like one of these
the
charter plane loophole things, but I got to imagine there are plenty of the high and mighty people in the San Fernando Valley that would love to be able to go back and forth to Maui without even having to go to Burbank, let alone LAX. Yikes.
Correct. Exactly right. So our little community, even though we're just a small community, we have the Sepulveda Basin, we have the Van Nuys Airport. We've got a lot of single-family homes. We've got commercial area. We get involved in a lot of things, and quite honestly, we really need the voices of the Valley and specifically of our communities to let our council members, we elected them. They don't work for the city. They don't work for Metro, even though they might be on their boards, but they work for our community, and we definitely need them to be listening to us.
If you want to attend this rally tomorrow, if you want to make your voice heard and embarrass the city of Los Angeles and Councilwoman Imelda Padilla, you can go to this rally. It's at Victory in Balboa tomorrow from 7 to 9 a.m. and also from 3 to 5 p.m. They're also doing it over the weekend, Saturday the 22nd from 10 to noon and Sunday the 23rd from 10 to noon. Linda Gravani, president of the Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council, thank you so much for joining us today, and keep fighting the good fight.
Thank you, Randy. Appreciate you. Happy
Thanks
Thanksgiving,
so much for
everyone.
calling in. Happy
Bye-bye.
Thanksgiving. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. If you'd like to email us, you can do so at randywangradio@gmail.com. That's my new email address. You can still email the old one, but it forwards to the new one, randywangradio@gmail.com. Linda writes in and says, what is Metro's mission statement, and when did they go from transportation to housing? Seems like another handout for the homeless funds for friends. Well, that's of course what's going on here. There are plenty of places to develop and build. And in fact, it's so interesting that they're taking the park and ride lot for the Metro when there are so much underutilized commercial space, including, at Victory and Woodley, there is this cursed parcel of land. Everything that goes in there goes out of business almost immediately. Apparently, the big building is zoned to be a pot store, and even a pot store can't make it work there. And they have a space for a restaurant next door. Every restaurant there has gone out of business. The only thing that works now, the only thing that makes that area work is that the Leo's taco truck shows up there. So the parking lot works. But I always thought if you're going to rezone anything, rezone that one, because there it's close to transit and it's a parcel of land that nobody uses, and commercial cannot be successful at it. But, that's at least my thought. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. It is the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're here every single day from 5 to 6 talking about the local issues that matter to you most and taking your phone calls at 800-222-5222. 1-800-222-5222. Your emails at randywangradio@gmail.com. Give me a follow on all the socials if you can. Instagram, TikTok, and X. It's all Randy Wang Radio. And subscribe to my YouTube channel for all my cooking videos at Randy Wang Radio. See, it's the same thing all across the board. Now, we want to be fair here. We heard one side of this argument. We heard why putting all the RVs in a metro parking lot that's right next to a school is a bad idea. Let's hear from someone that says it's a good idea. I didn't have the foresight to actually invite Imelda onto this show, but I don't think she would take me up on it.
Those who are protesting want to get louder. They want to get more violent.
But here was Imelda Padilla 2 weeks ago at Van Nuys City Hall explaining why this was the right move.
Councilmember Padilla.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Happy Halloween 2025.
We're wasting time with that, are we? I think she had cat ears for this.
Colleagues, today I rise and call on your support for item 6, which authorizes a lease agreement with Metro for a lot in my district to be used as a temporary, and I emphasize temporary, RV site.
Temporary 2 years, but sure, temporary, because you got to remember the Sepulveda Basin is also where they want to have 3 different events for the Olympics, 3-on-3 basketball, skateboarding, and BMX bicycling. And they actually want to build the stands very close to where that Metro parking lot is. So they're going to have to get all the RVs out of there before 2028, because that is going to be embarrassing.
For a 2-year contract. As we all know,
by the way, this isn't supposed to be a place where people live with the RVs. It's not safe parking, but because we can't just destroy the RVs, although there is state law that's supposed to be changing now, thanks to Jonathan Gonzalez. I heard Tracy Park talk about this. It's ridiculous that we can't just crush these things into a cube.
As we all know, our city continues to face a homelessness crisis, and the RV component of that crisis is one of the most frustrating.
Does it matter how illegally parked they are? Does it matter if they're a chop shop and they're breaking up bicycles? Does it matter if they've got dangerous propane tanks and drugs and all that stuff? It's just too difficult. You understand, I listen to way too many city council meetings and city council committee hearings, and I very distinctly remember in a transportation committee hearing talking about the RVs, I heard the Department of Transportation and the LAPD point out that because we don't enforce scofflaw laws, you have to get like 5 or 6 tickets before they can even think about towing you. And then here's the ecosystem. All right, you're illegally parked. You're not supposed to be here. Ticket. Another ticket. Another ticket, another ticket, another ticket. Now it's been weeks. Now we finally can tow you, but tow you where? Well, tow you to the LAPD impound lot, which is full and does not have a whole lot of room for oversized vehicles. So the vehicles actually go on auction because of a stupid state law that says if the vehicle is worth more than $500, and I'm sure just the catalytic converter would be, you can't just destroy it. You have to go through the lien process and you have to auction it off. And because the police are desperate to get these things out of their lots, they auction them off at like $50. And so someone known as a van lord comes around and they get that $50. They buy that RV and they rent it out to a homeless person for $500 a month.
Across Los Angeles, council offices, the mayor's office,
It all just repeats over and over and over again.
LASA, and the county are trying.
By the way, there are certain cities that just straight up are saying, and San Jose being one of them, now even San Francisco, no overnight RV parking. This isn't a camping world.
LASA and the county are trying to work together tirelessly to connect individuals to housing and services. And my council office is constantly pushing to make sure we're all on the same page.
Yep, neighborhood council sounds like you're totally in communication with them.
But particularly in areas with high concentrations of RVs, especially those of us who have industrial lots, we know how frustrating it has been. I've also heard directly from...
By the way, I live in this district. There's definitely other places they could put this. And I don't understand, again, why it has to be in this district. Why does every single city council district need to build a homeless shelter? Why can't we centralize the problem and lessen the pain on the constituents?
I've also heard directly from my constituents in this community about their frustrations with abandoned RVs that have remained on our streets for far too long.
And by the way, it was almost like clockwork. As soon as I heard this meeting and I heard what they were proposing, all of a sudden, you drive up Balboa Boulevard, going up to Victory, there's like almost every day now, one or two RVs that's just parked on Balboa. You're not supposed to be able to park there regardless. And now you have all the people that take their kids to the soccer games at those fields on Balboa Boulevard over the weekend. They no longer feel safe parking there.
This project represents a direct and proactive step to address that concern.
By the way, that whole park, that whole area, it could be so beautiful. In fact, for a long time, it was pretty. Heck, when I first was living in this area as a small child, it wasn't even called Lake Balboa because they hadn't built the lake yet. It was just Van Nuys. But they built the lake. People kept feeding the ducks, and now it's overrun with ducks, and there's duck poop everywhere. But regardless, ducks are cute. Kind of. They got the duck boats. People go there and they fish. I don't know what that's about. I guess you're catch and releasing, but okay. Not my kind of hobby, but you do you. But if you go anywhere outside of the main pond at Balboa Park, you go to where there's supposed to be hiking trails, there's people living in there. And I very distinctly remember, because I used to take my dogs there, not the dogs I have now, the dogs I used to have. We would go there because you could do a pretty long walk. Like if you went all the way around the pool, the pond, that's like 2 miles. And then you did the outside loop and went to the hiking trails, which is not that many trails, but there's a couple. They don't go up that high, but it's something. It's, somewhere where I can do all this without driving too far. That's another 2 miles. You get a 4 mile day out of it. I stopped doing that the day I walked past a homeless person living in the woods there with a off-leash, loose pit bull. And I wanted to make sure my dog stayed alive that day. So I will never, ever, 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 never, ever, ever take my dogs there.
However, our efforts are often slowed by a lack of available RV storage lots. With limited capacity citywide, council districts frequently compete for space to store RVs.
There's no better place in all the land that is owned by the city that we couldn't dump all of these things. We've got to put it next to a school, which, by the way, just the other day in front of said school, Birmingham High School, there was just as the kids were walking home, there's just a homeless person, not even with a tent, just sitting there blocking the sidewalk.
Before bringing this item forward,
it's almost like as soon as Imelda announced that we're going to start bringing more homeless services to this area, all of a sudden more homeless are showing up in this area. I got to move.
Before bringing this item forward, my office met with the school that's kitty corner to the lot, neighborhood stakeholders, and we sent out meetings and hosted focus groups.
That's checking the box. They were going to do this. They were always going to do this. It's not like, oh, someone gave me this idea. I want to really be thoughtful here because we like to use that word, and we're going to listen to what everyone has to say. And if the neighborhood says this is a bad idea, we're not going to go along with it. That's how representative government should work, but it's not how this representative government works.
We know that this is the right thing to do. and we heard legitimate concerns about safety and visual impact.
Yeah, because it's a disgusting RV salvage lot in front of a school and in front of one of the busier stops on this metro line that you want everyone to take.
In response,
Which, by the way, someone got murdered right there a couple years ago.
In response, we have requested 24/7 on-site security in addition to cameras. There will be a dedicated individual who will manage the site along with decorative fence.
I wonder how much they're going to get paid. Because, this is like all the other grifts. We've got to, instead of, solving the problem, skirting around the laws and figuring out legal ways to dispose of these vehicles, or I don't know, dumping them off on some abandoned salvage yard. There's definitely room for this somewhere. But if we can manage the problem, then we can pay somebody a whole bunch of money to watch the RVs to make sure they don't catch fire.
There will be a dedicated individual who will manage the site along with decorative fencing that incorporates art preventing blight.
Preventing what?
Decorative fencing that incorporates art preventing blight.
Blythe? Does she mean blight? 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. I'm so lucky that, Linda reached out to me this morning. I've been sitting on this Imelda sound forever without any excuse to do it. So here we go. Buckle up, everybody. It's Imelda Day.
Street pavements that are cooler.
It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. If you'd like to email us, you could do so at randywangradio@gmail.com. This is incredible. So during the break, our guest, Linda from the the Lake Balboa Neighborhood Council, emailed me exactly what this flight is that you can take from Van Nuys Airport to Maui, specifically to the Four Seasons in Wailea. It is that company Aero. If you ever drive on Van Owen and you're going along the Van Nuys Airport, and on the other side is the pitch and putt, you see these little tiny black jets that say Aero, AERO. Well, for the low, low price of $6,000 a seat, you can fly from Van Nuys Airport to OGG. I think I'll pass on that one. And nothing against, flying semi-private. I love JSX out of Burbank. Sometimes I have dreamed what it would be like to be out of Van Nuys. But JSX doesn't charge you this much. JSX is like $250 each way. It's very reasonable. And by the way, I don't know if you know this, but Burbank is going to start having, I think Alaska is going to start flying direct to, I don't think Maui, but they're going to start flying Burbank to Honolulu. So, hey, you could go to Hawaii without having to go to LAX. But yeah, if you've got $6,000 a person, I can get you right now on a flight from Van Nuys Airport to Maui. That's fun. Hey, I got something great for you. 790 KABC welcomes Train, Drops of Jupiter, 25 years in the atmosphere at the Greek Theater, August 24th, 2026. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. But right now, caller number 9 at 1-888-790-5222 gets a pair of tickets to the show. Tickets furnished by Live Nation. Good luck dialing. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. During the break, I was working on a video for puttanesca sauce, and you can see that. I'll post it on my Instagram at Randy Wang Radio. I'll post it on my YouTube at Randy Wang Radio, my TikTok, all of that stuff. I love making these cooking videos now that I've got the studio set up for it. All right, let's go back to Imelda Padilla.
Dedicated individual who will manage the site along with decorative fencing that incorporates art preventing blight.
Well, we don't want to have blight.
I also want to clarify that this is not going to be open to the public, only authorized personnel, and it will not serve as interim housing location.
What? Now, what's going to prevent, by the way, you think about that RV lot in the City of Industry, the one where they were trying to sell the RVs, and the homeless took it over and turned it into a shanty town? What's to stop the homeless from breaking into this facility and making it their home?
Strictly short-term storage.
For 2 years.
It will only store empty RVs. for up to 1 to 2 months at a time before they are properly disposed of.
You know, I know you can't do this, but if I was a member of the city council and I wanted to just get this stuff, can't you just pay somebody off the books to, I don't know, torch these things?
This is a necessary.
You know, I'm not advocating for anyone doing anything illegal, but until we change the laws, there's got to be something we can do.
This is a necessary temporary solution.
To put it next to a school.
One that helps us respond to the need of our constituents and supports the broader effort to move forward from vehicles, having people in vehicles, to housing. We need this space to continue expediting the removal of abandoned RVs on our streets.
And I will say, to give Imelda Padilla some credit, because I have lived in this district before she was a member of the city council, and we had Nuri.
Why are people with us?
And one of the things about this specific district is if you're trying to get on the 405 freeway and you're on Van Owen, you need to take a right at Haskell to get onto the 405. And in between Van Owen and Victory at Haskell was just a massive lineup of RVs that no one wanted to do anything about because, oh, it's next to the freeway, so it's Caltrans land. But no, it's the city of Los Angeles land. And it was very dangerous. I felt so bad for anybody that lived in the apartments across the street from there. And it got so sketchy that I just never, ever, ever take that way to get to the freeway. I also don't take Van Owen for a very specific reason. I go down Balboa and I take Burbank to get to the Havenhurst on-ramp of the 101. I think that's the fastest way to get to the hell that is the 405. It would be very easy for me to take Van Owen all the way to Haskell, but I don't take Van Owen because I try as hard as I can to never, ever, ever be at the intersection of Van Owen and Balboa. Now, Victory and Balboa is where they want to put the RV lot. One block up at Van Owen and Balboa, which is also across from the school, there is just the corner of temptation. There's a Jack in the Box, a McDonald's, and a Del Taco all in that corner, all in that intersection. And although I have a lot of willpower and I'm very good, it's just easier to not have to drive by that. Makes my life a little simpler. Thank you all so much for listening to this show. We try to bring a local focus to everything we do. You got an idea for us? Email us at randywangradio@gmail.com. If you want us to cover something that you don't think is getting covered enough, randywangradio@gmail.com. Make sure to follow me on all the socials and get my YouTube at Randy Wang Radio. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC.